I must not have heard you come in. The sound must have got lost over the din of the impending army of internet trolls, no doubt descending upon this video as we speak. I'm an internet entrepreneur who started a six-figure business from scratch. I've crossed oceans to work and study under some of the most talented psychotherapists in the world in order to overcome a childhood of extreme depression and social anxiety, which I have successfully done. I once lived in a lean-to in the middle of the foothills of Western Alberta in -20, having walked into the woods with nothing but a good friend and what we could carry in on our backs. I wrote and self-published a best-selling ebook that I hawk shamelessly in all my videos. I used to jump out of helicopters for a living. Hell, I've even died and revived 3 times in my life so far. But what do you think is the question that most people are first inclined to ask me when coming across one of my videos? Let's go have a look. So, let's see what happens when you type the word black into the comments section of my videos. Oh! So, because of my mother, I am almost half Southeast Asian. Because of my father, I'm almost half African, and there is a small percentage of Northern European and a small percentage of Native American. I grew up in a neighborhood with children from all over the world. There were a lot of people from Poland, Lebanon, Romania, Germany, Ukraine, Vietnam, Philippines. And so, I mean, by a certain age, you know, I knew how to swear in like 6 different languages. Now, this was all before the whole political correctness that people are going through in modern day society around race. We were kids that were just kind of thrown in on the playground together. You know, we didn't have much guidance from our parents, looking back, most of us. Or from the school system. We were just kind of thrown there like Lord of the Flies to see how we sorted ourselves out. And we would go through phases where we would all be the Kumbaya United Nations, and then other phases where we would just call each other every slur in the book and get it over with. Now, my father left when I was 2 years old. He was the black part of the equation. And there was one black family in our neighborhood. But growing up, I never really thought of myself racially at all. I just was who I was. Most of my friends were either Caucasian or Asian, and I never specifically felt different from them racially. I never even considered it. So I thought I'd address some of the things that I think people are thinking when they look at me and they're trying to determine what race I am. I think they look at my last name, they hear the way I speak, they look at my hair, they look at the color of my skin, they look at my nose and my lips. So my last name is an Indian name. It's from my mother. She was not married to my father, and so I got my mother's maiden name. I got my nose also from my mother, which some people tend to assume I got it from my father, but I got this nose from my mother, and I actually got lucky because hers was considerably more wide and bigger than mine. My skin color, which I have been accused of faking multiple times, my skin color is my skin color. Like many people with dark skin, the outer rim of my face is darker than the center, so I wear a foundation that's a bit darker and a bit than the light shade and a bit lighter than the dark shade, so it's like it blends a bit better. My skin does look lighter without foundation, but I am not faking my skin color. And my hair is real. I don't know, you can kind of see. I don't know how you're supposed to show that kind of thing. I would think that if I was going to go out of my way to have fake hair, that it would at least look perfect. And my hair doesn't look perfect. And in fact, on the days when it does, people tend to think I'm wearing a wig. So here's the thing. I have had this weird dilemma my entire life. And I find that if I'm in the company of Black people, I feel uncomfortable referring to myself as Black, and if I'm in the company of Indian people, I feel uncomfortable referring to myself as Indian. I had a friend who was half Mexican and half white, but because she had really pale skin and really red hair, everyone just referred to her as white. And then there's that whole thing about if someone is a little bit Black, you can just call them Black. I mean, the US, you guys had a president who was half Black and half white, and people would say he was your first Black president. Well, if he's also half white, could you not then say he's a white president? How does that work? If I say that I'm Black, people say I'm too Indian, and if I say that I'm Indian, they'll say I'm too Black. If I say that I'm mixed, people are like, oh, she's trying to be special. I even had someone comment on my DNA ancestry video that because I don't actively talk about my 2% Northwestern European heritage, that I am in denial of it. Yes, I said go fuck yourself. So I'm really at a place where I feel like I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. I understand that there's a very strong part of human psychology that desires to be able to quickly label and determine what something is. Back in the day, if you were out hunting a saber-toothed tiger for dinner and you caught something out of the corner of your eye, you needed to know fast whether it was a twig or a snake that was going to kill you. So there's a part of your brain that needs to know when you encounter something that we're uncertain about exactly what it is. I think there is value in having a tribe and having a tribal identity within your family or even within a culture. So you have some culture, and I didn't grow up with that. That being said, it allowed me to create my own culture for myself and to truly become who I wanted to be in life. I feel like if I had grown up under a specific label, that maybe it would have affected the way I felt about other people. Maybe if I had grown up being told this is historically how people who are like you behave, are treated, and are in society, or something to that degree, that it would have changed my perception of the possibilities that were available to me. Now, one thing I want to clarify is that I am absolutely not complaining. The marketer in me recognizes that anything about me that incites curiosity in the general public is a great way of getting attention and making sales. Whatever angle I have to use to get my message across in this world as well, I'm definitely gonna milk it. Yeah. I think people forget that human beings are mammals. We're animals with fancy brains. We're tribal. We're visual, and maybe it might have been better if we all kind of stuck together in groups where we could easily identify who was a friend and who was an enemy. But those days are long gone. And to me, I identify who I can trust based on a number of things that have nothing to do with the color of someone's skin. I know that for me, the definition of my people are people who are doing things that are difficult and challenging in order to change the negative, destructive patterns that have been passed down in their family through generations. My people are people who speak up when they notice something wrong, even if it makes them socially uncomfortable. My people are people who are focused on building their own personal power, keeping their rooms clean and their beds made, and being an inspiration for those in their community. My people don't care about celebrity gossip, politics, stories that the news media fabricates and exaggerates in order to create social outrage and distract from actually important topics. Those are my people. So while you all want to argue and talk about it, I'm just going to be drinking my tea, coming up with new business ideas, wandering in the woods, and enjoying my short and beautiful life. I encourage you to do the same. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel, especially if you're one of my people. Thanks for watching.